Hey guys, let's be real, some survival products are just plain dumb to buy. Not because you're dumb, but because the companies selling them think you are. These items are flashy, overpriced, and in some cases downright dangerous. Yet somehow, they keep ending up in prepper kits all across the country. In this video, we're pulling back the tarp on 11 survival products that only fools are still buying, and before you click away, no, this isn't about mocking anyone. It's about making sure you're not the one stuck with junk gear when things go sideways. From gadgets that fall apart the second you actually need them, to items that serve literally no real-world purpose, some of these might already be sitting in your bug-out bag right now, and that's a problem. So if you're serious about prepping smart, not just spending smart, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to ditch and what to replace it with before it's too late. Real quick, if you're done falling for survival marketing gimmicks, hit that subscribe button. We break it down so your gear doesn't break on you. Number 1. Survival water pouches. On the surface, survival water pouches seem like a no-brainer. They're small, pre-packaged, and marketed as emergency ready. You've probably seen them sold in bulk with bold claims like 5-year shelf life or perfect for bug-out bags. But let's take a closer look, because these little pouches might be one of the most overpriced and underperforming items in your entire emergency kit. First off, the amount of water you actually get? Laughable. Most pouches contain around 4 to 4.2 ounces of water. That's barely half a cup. And considering the average adult needs around 64-96 ounces per day just to function in a survival scenario, you'd need at least 16 of these pouches per day, and that's being generous. That's a lot of weight and a lot of wasted space in your go bag or emergency storage. Now let's talk about cost. As of June 2025, a pack of 100 pouches can run you between $30 to $50, depending on the brand. That might sound reasonable, until you realize you're paying over $6 per gallon of water that tastes like plastic, by the way. It's purified, sure, but stored in a pouch that leaches flavor and sometimes even softens or leaks in heat. Worst of all, these pouches give a false sense of security. They look like a check-the-box solution, but in a real crisis, they run out in a flash and leave you dehydrated and scrambling. A far better alternative? Collapsible 1-liter water containers paired with reliable purification methods like a Sawyer Mini or Aquatabs. They take up less space, give you more water, and actually adapt to your situation. Bottom line, survival water pouches are more marketing than practicality. Don't fall for the packaging. If water is life, then your solution should be built to last longer than a sip. Number 2. Mini first aid kits from dollar stores. Let's be honest, those tiny first aid kits from dollar stores or budget bins look like a smart buy. They're compact, cheap, and even say emergency ready right on the packaging. But here's the hard truth. These mini kits are more of a feel-good illusion than an actual medical solution. Crack one open and you'll usually find, what? A couple of Band-Aids, maybe a gauze pad, a tiny alcohol wipe, and if you're lucky, a safety pin or two. That's it. No antiseptic cream, no pain relievers. No tweezers, trauma pads, burn gel, or anything close to what you'd actually need in a real-world emergency. As of June 2025, studies show over 60% of first aid injuries in crisis situations involve bleeding, burns, or fractures, none of which can be treated with a Band-Aid and hope. These mini kits are designed to look useful on a shelf, not be useful in a crisis. And when it really matters, when someone's cut deep, burned, or bleeding, this kit won't help you one bit. Even worse, they give you a false sense of security. You toss one in your glove box, your backpack, or your emergency drawer thinking you've checked the medical box. But when something serious happens, you'll quickly realize just how unprepared you actually are. So what should you carry instead? Build your own kit. It's easier and cheaper than you think. Start with the essentials: a proper tourniquet, trauma pads, antiseptic wipes, nitrile gloves, and medical tape. Add over-the-counter meds like ibuprofen, antihistamines, and antidiarrheal. And most importantly, learn how to use them. Your first aid kit shouldn't be cute. It shouldn't fit in your pocket. It should save lives, and that means having gear that's ready for real-world injuries, not paper cuts. Bottom line? If your first aid kit came in a plastic case smaller than your phone and cost less than a fast food burger, it's probably not a first aid kit at all. Number 3. Overpriced MREs from unknown brands. If you've ever browsed online for survival food, chances are you've stumbled across those flashy-looking MREs from companies you've never heard of. The packaging looks military grade. The names sound tactical. The marketing? Straight out of a prepper's fever dream. But here's the problem, many of these MREs are nothing more than glorified snack packs with a survival price tag. Let's talk numbers. As of June 2025, many off-brand MREs are selling for anywhere from $9 to $15 per meal. That's more than a full meal at a decent diner, and for what? A tiny portion of soggy pasta, a generic energy bar, and a packet of powdered drink mix? Some don't even come with a heating element. And if they do, it's often the type that barely warms your food above room temperature. And don't even get me started on taste. You might think flavor is a luxury in a survival situation, but if the food is borderline inedible, you're not going to want to eat it, especially under stress. Worse, many of these low-tier MREs are packed with sugar, sodium, and preservatives, but offer little in terms of real nutrition or sustained energy. They might fill your stomach, but they won't fuel your body when it matters most. The scariest part? Shelf life claims are often exaggerated. Without proper storage standards, these meals can degrade quickly, especially if they're sitting in a hot garage or car. You could be stocking up now only to find spoiled, unsafe food when you actually need it. Here's what to do instead. Stick to trusted brands like Mountain House, ReadyWise, or Nutrient Survival. Or better yet, build your own long-term meal kits using vacuum-sealed staples like rice, beans, lentils, canned proteins, and freeze-dried vegetables. You'll get more calories, better variety, and a lot more control over your nutrition. Bottom line? If the brand name sounds made up, the website looks like it was built last night, and the reviews are all suspiciously glowing, skip it. Because when you're hungry and counting on calories, fake food won't cut it. Number 4. Cheap pocket flashlights. You've seen them, the mini LED flashlights that promise ultra-bright light in a military-grade aluminum shell, all for $5 or less. They're everywhere. Gas stations, online bundles, bug-out bag kits, and while they look tactical, these cheap pocket flashlights are one of the biggest letdowns in any prepper's gear. Let's get real. When the power goes out, or you're deep in the woods, your flashlight isn't just for convenience, it's survival. But these budget lights? They flicker, fail, or burn out when you need them most. As of June 2025, flashlight reliability tests show that over 70% of low-cost lights fail within 3 months of occasional use, especially if exposed to water or cold. And don't be fooled by lumen ratings slapped on the packaging. Many of these budget flashlights claim 800 to 1,000 lumens, but in reality, they're barely pushing 200, and that's with fresh batteries. Speaking of batteries, most drain them fast, and some even get dangerously hot if left on too long. Worse, their buttons break, the lenses scratch, and a simple drop can kill the entire light. You're basically gambling your safety on a glorified keychain. So what should you be carrying instead? A quality, waterproof flashlight from trusted brands like Fenix, Olight, or Streamlight. Look for real lumen ratings, drop resistance, and rechargeable options. Bonus points if it doubles as a power bank or has multiple modes for low light and emergency signaling. Because here's the thing, when it's pitch black and you hear something moving, the last thing you want is to shake your light hoping it works. If you're tired of gear that fails when it matters most, hit that subscribe button. We break down the facts and expose the fluff so you don't have to find out the hard way. Number 5. Bug-out bags with built-in speakers, radios, or fans. It sounds cool, right? A bug-out bag with built-in Bluetooth speakers, or a solar-powered fan, or even a built-in AM/FM radio, just in case. You'll see them marketed as all-in-one survival systems, packed with flashy extras designed to grab attention. But here's the reality. These gimmicky bug-out bags are more tech toy than survival tools. Let's break it down. As of June 2025, several of these feature-packed bags are popping up on survival sites and Amazon, ranging from $80 to $200, which sounds reasonable, until you realize most of that price is going toward electronics you'll probably never use, and definitely can't rely on. Bluetooth speakers? Great for a backyard barbecue, not for maintaining stealth in a crisis. Radios? Most are cheap static-filled units with no reception, unless you're under perfect conditions. And those solar fans? They drain fast, barely move air, and are often wired poorly, leaving you with a dead battery when you actually need to charge something important like a flashlight or emergency beacon. And here's the bigger issue. Every extra feature adds weight, bulk, and one more thing that can break. When you're on foot, carrying your life on your back, every ounce matters. Built-in gadgets might look tactical on a product page, but they're fragile distractions when you're facing real danger. A bug-out bag should be simple, efficient, and rugged. Prioritize compartments, weight distribution, and build quality. Add your own separate radio, one that you've tested. Use a reliable solar charger you can swap out. And skip the speaker. Your survival situation shouldn't include background music. Remember, in a crisis, less flesh means more function. A flashy bag doesn't make you more prepared, it makes you more vulnerable. Because when it's time to bug out, your gear should work for you, not against you. Number 6. Multi-tools with 20+ functions. At first glance, these mega multi-tools seem like a prepper's dream. They promise everything: saws, screwdrivers, wire cutters, bottle openers, even glass breakers, all tucked into one compact gadget. Sounds like a steal, right? Except it's not, it's a trap. A shiny, overhyped, poorly built trap. You'll see these tools advertised as 21-in-1 or even 30-in-1 survival solutions. And as of June 2025, hundreds of off-brand models are flooding the market, priced anywhere between $15 to $50. But here's what they don't tell you. Most of these tools are either uselessly small, dangerously flimsy, or impossible to use without breaking a nail or your patience. Let's take the blade, for example. On most of these oversized gadgets, the knife is so short, dull, or poorly positioned that you'd struggle to open a box, let alone cut rope or carve wood. The pliers? Often loose at the hinge or misaligned. And the other 18 tools? Tiny screwdrivers that can't turn anything, wire cutters that don't cut, or can openers that might as well be decorative. And don't forget weight. These tools are heavy, some over 1.5 pounds, making them annoying to carry and painful to use for extended tasks. All those moving parts make them bulky in your pocket and clunky in your hand. Worst of all, when one component breaks, and it will, you're left lugging around a half-functional brick of metal. So what's the smarter move? Carry separate, reliable tools that actually work. A solid fixed-blade knife, a real pair of needle-nose pliers, and a basic multi-tool from a trusted brand like Leatherman or Gerber. You don't need 20 tools that fail, you need 3 that deliver. Multifunction doesn't mean multi-reliable. These oversized gadgets are built to impress at first glance, not to survive long-term use. And in a real emergency, the last thing you want is to be fumbling with a broken toy instead of fixing the problem. Because in survival, reliability isn't optional, it's everything. Number 7. Tactical bracelets with flint, whistle, and compass. They're cheap, flashy, and loaded with features on paper, at least. Tactical survival bracelets are everywhere these days, promising a full survival kit wrapped neatly around your wrist. You get a flint striker, a mini compass, a whistle, and several feet of paracord all in one. Sounds efficient, right? Except almost none of it actually works. Let's start with the flint striker. In theory, it should let you start a fire in an emergency, but in practice, it's usually a tiny sliver of ferro rod paired with a jagged piece of metal. The sparks? Weak at best. And without the proper technique and dry tinder, good luck. As of June 2025, consumer reviews across multiple survival gear sites rank these fire starters as unreliable or non-functional in over 65% of field test cases. Then there's the whistle. These are supposed to help you signal for help, but most of them are molded plastic with poor airflow, making them barely audible, especially in wind or forest environments. Not exactly helpful when your safety depends on being heard. And the compass? Don't even get me started. These tiny button compasses are often just for looks. They're rarely calibrated properly, and a light bump can knock them off alignment entirely. You're better off navigating by the stars. Even the paracord, which is supposed to be the most useful part, is often a low-quality knockoff cord that frays easily and has poor strength. Real 550 paracord has 7 internal strands and holds up under pressure. The stuff on these bracelets, it's barely hobby grade. So what are you really wearing? A bracelet that looks tactical but does almost nothing in a real emergency. Here's what to do instead. Carry standalone full-size tools. A proper ferro rod with a striker, a quality survival whistle, a real compass like the Sunto MC2, and certified 550 paracord stored in your kit, not braided around your wrist. Bottom line, survival isn't about looking ready, it's about being ready. And these bracelets? They're more fashion than function. When it counts, don't gamble your life on gear that was designed to impress, not to perform. Number 8. Glow sticks as main light source. Glow sticks, cheap, fun, and everywhere. You've probably tossed a few into your bug-out bag thinking, hey, light is light, right? But here's the thing, glow sticks aren't a serious light source. Not even close. And if they're your primary backup plan for lighting in a crisis, you might be in for a dark surprise. Let's break it down. Glow sticks offer a very dim, diffuse light, usually between 20 to 30 lumens, which is barely enough to light up a small corner of a room, let alone guide your way through the woods or help you set up camp. As of June 2025, tests by survival gear reviewers found that even the best glow sticks can't illuminate more than 5 feet in complete darkness. And the duration? While most claim 12 hours of glow, the brightness drops significantly after the first 2-3 hours. After that, it's more of a faint green blur than usable light. Plus, they're single-use only. Once cracked, that's it. You've traded space in your pack for a tool you can only use once and not very well. Another issue? No control. You can't turn them off to conserve battery. You can't focus the beam. You can't use them for signaling in any meaningful way unless you're waving them around, which isn't ideal in low visibility or stealth-required situations. Now, don't get me wrong, glow sticks have some value. They're great for marking a trail, identifying team members at night, or adding soft light to a tent. But as your main source of emergency lighting, not a chance. Instead, invest in a real flashlight or headlamp. Look for rechargeable models with multiple brightness settings and waterproof housing. Bonus if it's solar compatible or USB chargeable with a power bank. Because when the grid goes down and the sun's not coming up anytime soon, you need a light source that's reliable, reusable, and powerful, not something that belongs at a birthday party. Glow sticks are fun, but survival gear isn't about fun. It's about what works when everything else fails. Number 9. Survival, canned bread, or bizarre food. Let's talk about one of the weirdest things people still toss into their emergency food supply: canned bread, or worse, survival rations that look like they belong in a science fiction movie. You've seen them. Shelf, stable meals, shaped like cubes, bars made of mystery paste, or even bacon in a can. They sound quirky, maybe even nostalgic, but they're also one of the most overrated survival items you can buy. Take canned bread, for example. It's often pitched as traditional or New England survival food, but here's the reality. Each can take up almost as much space as a full can of soup, but gives you fewer calories and almost zero nutritional value. And let's be honest, the texture is weird and the taste? Somewhere between cardboard and regret. As of June 2025, most canned breads and novelty survival foods cost between $4 to $7 per can, offering around 300-400 calories max with high sugar, low protein, and almost no fiber. That's not fuel. That's dessert disguised as prepper food. And those ultra-processed survival cubes? Sure, they have a 20-year shelf life, but they're usually high in preservatives, insanely dense, and nearly impossible to eat under stress. One bite, and you'll wish you had just packed a peanut butter sandwich instead. Here's the bigger issue. Survival food should be something your body recognizes and can digest under stress. When adrenaline is pumping and water is limited, you don't want your stomach dealing with novelty food. You want slow-burn calories, good fats, and real protein. So what's the move? Stick to real, proven shelf-stable foods. Instant rice, oats, canned beans, peanut butter, tuna, pasta, and freeze-dried meals from trusted brands. Foods you already eat, know how to cook, and can rotate in and out of your pantry. Canned bread might be fun to show off on YouTube, but when you're cold, tired, and hungry, you won't care about quirky food, you'll care about what works. Because in a real emergency, the last thing you want to chew through is a mistake. Number 10. Cheap thermal blankets. Mylar. They're shiny, light, and look super survival ready. You've probably seen them in every emergency kit, those silver Mylar blankets folded into plastic squares the size of a deck of cards. Marketed as essential heat retention tools, they promise to reflect 90% of your body heat. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the catch. They rarely live up to the hype. Let's start with durability. These so-called emergency blankets tear easily, sometimes the very first time you unfold them. As of June 2025, multiple field tests show that cheap Mylar blankets can tear in under 30 seconds during windy or wet conditions. And once they rip, they're useless. They're also loud, really loud. The crackling noise when you move in one is not only annoying, but can give away your location if you're trying to stay discreet. That might not matter in every survival situation, but if stealth is part of your strategy, it's a major problem. Then there's comfort or lack thereof. Mylar doesn't breathe. It traps condensation, making you damp, clammy, and colder in the long run. Sure, it might slow down heat loss temporarily, But in real-life cold weather survival, it often does more harm than good unless used with insulating layers and shelter. And yet, despite all of this, people keep tossing these into their kits thinking they've checked the box for hypothermia protection. But if you're relying on a $2 plastic sheet to save you in freezing temps, you're not preparing, you're pretending. Here's a smarter solution. Invest in a reusable thermal bivy sack, like the ones made by SOL or Snugpak. They're thicker, quieter, water-resistant, and actually designed to hold up in tough conditions. Better still? Pack an extra pair of dry socks, a wool hat, and a real insulating blanket, things that work with your body, not just reflect it. Mylar blankets belong in the better-than-nothing category. They're not worthless, but they are wildly overrated. Don't bet your body heat on budget gear that falls apart when it matters most. Number 11. Survival whistles attached to zippers. At first glance, a whistle attached to your jacket, backpack, or parka zipper seems like a clever idea. It's small, always accessible, and marketed as a life-saving signaling tool. You've probably seen them integrated into paracord pulls or backpack zippers labeled as built-in emergency whistles. Sounds smart, right? Except just like most survival gimmicks, these are more about looking prepared than being prepared. Let's get straight to the point. Most of these whistles are completely useless in real-world situations. As of June 2025, field tests across budget, hiking gear, and survival kits revealed that zipper whistles produced sound levels below 90 decibels, barely loud enough to carry through dense woods or over wind. A proper emergency whistle should hit 100 to 120 decibels to be heard clearly at a distance. That's a big difference when you're lost, injured, or trying to signal for rescue. Then there's build quality. These zipper whistles are often made of soft plastic that cracks, melts, or warps over time. And because they're tiny and built into something else, they're incredibly hard to blow properly, especially if you're panicked or short on breath. Even worse, most people don't even know they have one. They assume it's just a zipper pull, or forget it's there entirely. That means no practice, no familiarity, and no reliability in an actual emergency. A whistle might seem like a small thing, but in survival, small things make big differences. A real emergency whistle can cut through wind, traffic, or wilderness noise when a voice can't It doesn't need batteries, works when wet, and can literally guide rescuers to you in low visibility conditions. So here's the fix. Ditch the built-in gimmicks and carry a real whistle. Brands like Fox, 40, and Storm make durable, high-decibel whistles designed for serious use. Attach it to your backpack strap, lanyard, or keychain somewhere visible, not hidden. Survival gear shouldn't be hidden in plain sight and forgotten. If it's critical like a whistle, it should be real, tested, and loud enough to matter. Because when your voice fails, your whistle can speak for you. Just make sure it's one that can actually be heard. Let's face it, prepping isn't just about buying gear. It's about buying the right gear, and too many people are wasting money on survival products that look tactical, but fail when it really counts. From flashy tools that break under pressure to gimmicky food and gear that barely does its job, every item we covered today has one thing in common. It gives a false sense of security. And in a real emergency, false confidence can be just as dangerous as no gear at all. The good news? Now you know better. And that knowledge is your most valuable prep of all. Go through your kit. Check your bag. Ask yourself, does this actually work or does it just sound cool? Then make the switch. Quality over clutter. Function over flash. And hey, if you spotted something you own on this list, don't feel bad. We've all been there. What matters is what you do next. So here's your next step. Hit that subscribe button. We're cutting through the noise every single week to help you prepare smarter, not harder. And if this video saved you from buying junk, hit like, drop a comment, and share it with someone who needs to see it. Stay sharp, stay ready.